Well, welcome everyone. It's wonderful to see all the faces here, and also we're incredibly grateful just to see how many have shown up for this wonderful and kind of momentous affair for us. It is truly a great opportunity for me to be a part of WGU. It is, in fact, I've started to realize that, in fact, I've met some of our own graduates that were at the first commencement that I attended. And I shared with him that having attended that commencement and seen the difference that WGU has made in the lives of so many, it is the reason that I chose to join WGU. There was simply a recognition that in many ways the attainment of their credential and their degree for them meant more to them than mine did to me, because it was a recognition that the opportunity to pursue a college degree and achieve it, the difference that it made for them in their lives, and just recognizing how important education is as a catalyst for individuals to improve their lot in life, if you will, and better their opportunities that they can see in their future. And so we have long found that one of the ways in which we can continue to increase the awareness and expand the access to high quality education is by partnering with states like North Carolina. And we're very excited about this opportunity to really advance the awareness and increase the opportunity and the access to it for so many North Carolinians. And I will say, just as a quick highlight on a personal level, that this is a little bit like coming home. Even though I'm not from North Carolina, I in fact have quite a bit of family in North Carolina, and my mother and father in fact are here. They're Raleigh residents, and then I also have a brother and a sister and their families living in the area. So you don't have to twist my arm to come to Raleigh. It is a great place for us to vacation, especially when it's ridiculously cold in Salt Lake City and there's a couple feet of snow on the ground. You know, you can come here and it's a beautiful place to vacation to and to really feel like I'm home. So I thought I'd just share a little bit about why we're here. Those of you who are less familiar with Western Governors University, it was founded 20 years ago with a pretty simple mission. Which is really to expand access and improve quality of higher education. I think there was a recognition that there was a large swath of adults in the U.S. that in fact didn't previously have access through more of the traditional model of higher education. And the expectation is that if the workforce and the economy and our communities were to improve, that we need to expand that access to high quality programs. And there was simply this math and recognition that was done that we realized that there was many adults in the U.S. who had some college but no degree. In fact, by all indications, that number is north of 36 million adults. Those adults who had started college and for some reason, usually not a cognitive one, for some reason they failed to complete. Well, having not completed a degree, as you well know, if you hold a degree, that also limited the opportunities that they had to improve their lot in life, to expand their own potential as well as the potential of their own children. And I think what the recognition was from Governor Leavitt and Governor Romer and all the governors that joined them in establishing Western Governors University is that education is that, if not the single biggest catalyst, it is one of the most important catalysts in helping individuals change their lives. And so that mission and that purpose has become our purpose. We talk very much about at Western Governors that our purpose is very simple: to change the lives of individuals and families. The other thing that we recognize is that when we focus on the student and put the student at the center of everything we do, it's that one individual that matters. So even if we are today over 85,000 students enrolled and we have over 92,000 graduates nationwide, the reality is every single student to us matters. And that's how we've designed everything that we do. We think about taking the traditional faculty model and designing it differently so that we can increase the engagement and the support that each individual needs as they come to Western Governors. And so we've realized that there's an opportunity to, at both a course level as well as in their major, to give them individualized one-to-one access to faculty tool that will really help them not only develop their cognitive ability and advance their learning, but specifically help these individuals deal with all those countervailing priorities sometimes that can usurp their agendas and their calendar and their time and everything else, and makes it very difficult for them to maintain progress. And this is where we recognize that establishing a mentor model around our programs really helped us serve each of these individuals to help them realize that the potential for them to complete was there. And that when they apply that potential, they in fact do complete their courses and they get closer to completing their degrees, and ultimately they attain their degrees. What we also recognize is that when an adult achieves a degree, when a person achieves a degree, their children are 10 times more likely to also complete college. That's why we think about changing the life of one individual actually changes the life of a family, because the children of that one individual also see the impact of the education in the lives of their parents. If you were to come to a commencement, which we will have future commencements here at WGU North Carolina, what you'll recognize that's very different about Western Governors is that you will see probably as many children in the audience as you will see parents. And I'll give you a little bit of why that is the case. Our average age of our students is 37 years old. That's also true here in North Carolina. 70% of our students also have families, children. So you will often see that our graduates come and hear their children sitting in the audience and they're seeing their parents receive their degrees, whether they be a bachelor's or master's. These working adults are finding now the opportunity through the attainment of that credential to either advance the career that they were on, or change a career, or even achieve their first-time career. And you see that in kind of how we developed our programs. We designed our programs also to start from the very simple fact that if education is a path to opportunity, you need to make sure that the programs that you're offering are more linked to that opportunity than not. And so we designed our colleges around that. We have 4 colleges. Our first college was in health professions. Our second one was in teaching, our first one was in business. Our second one was teaching. Then we added health professions, and then we added our College of IT. We only have 65 programs across Western Governors University. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have more. It just means that we're very prudent about making sure that when we introduce new degrees, that those degrees provide a very strong link and a path to opportunity in the workforce. You won't be surprised as well to learn that those programs that we offer have very high demand. That is true for teaching, that is true in the health professions. A simple example is nursing, that there is an estimated 2 million shortage in nurses across the entire US. That's no different here in North Carolina than it is in so many other states. And then you'll see also in our College of IT, where last year alone, the enrollment in our IT college grew 37%. Just this year, in fact, the open jobs for technology now have surpassed all other open jobs because technology demand is so high across all sectors of our economy. And so there's a very strong demand for those that have truly demonstrated the competencies, the skills, the knowledge to be very successful in those technology domains. And so that's why we've continued to expand our program offerings in our College of IT. And you probably know this, being from the Research Triangle, having a very vibrant technology-powered workforce here in North Carolina. We expect that, in fact, those degree programs are going to be in very high demand and really present these adults with a great opportunity to advance their path to great employment outcomes, income gains, and everything else like that. Let me just share with you some stats about North Carolina itself, and specifically Western Governors University in it. Today in North Carolina, we already have more than 1,100 students in 89 counties across North Carolina. We've also awarded just over 2,000 degrees. We have 2,007 degrees that have already been awarded to North Carolinians. That has actually broken down in this way. Across health professions and nursing, we have 648 graduates, teachers, 603 graduates, College of Business, 508 graduates, and the College of Information Technology, we have 248 graduates. Interestingly enough, I will say that our Teachers College, those of you who don't know this, we're one of the few, if not the only Teachers College that licenses teachers in all 50 states in the US. And so we've worked really hard to make sure that while we were established by Western Governors, the reality is our reach is across the entire nation. And we work very, very closely with school districts and schools to ensure that we are able to license our graduates in the states and where they live and work. We also take great pride in the fact that we can extend access to high-quality programs to all the rural residents. We already have students in 89 counties in the U.S., but one of the hallmarks of our state affiliates is that it also allows us to, in fact, get to a point where we often have a student in every single county in the states in which we have an affiliate. We know that the rural populations are some of the ones that are most struggle the most in terms of gaining access to high-quality programs. One of the unique factors around WGU is we deliver 100% of our programs and our courses are delivered online. This allows us to reach and teach these adults where they are. that they don't have that geographic requirement that says you have to come to a campus or a classroom. We bring the campus and the classroom to them in the online delivery model. This allows us to actually reach and teach students, adults across the entire state. Let me give you some other interesting statistics about WGU North Carolina. Fully 75% of our students are classified as underserved in one or more of the following categories. 43% are the first generation in their family to attend college. 30% are ethnic minorities, 24% are low income, and 23% live in rural areas. This was also at the root of the Western governors who established WGU, is the sense that how do we bring access to those who are typically underserved. 89% of our students are 26 years of age or older. It's very telling that these adults who have some college and no degree, they're kind of in their midlife of parenting, and that that itself, in terms of time, becomes a factor that limits their potential to achieve education through a more traditional means. Now, notably, that while 89% are over the age of 26, you'll notice that even 11% are under the age of 26. And so the competency-based education model that WGU affords them is not necessarily limited to those who are of older ages. Average age overall, I mentioned, is 37 years old, but our youngest student is 18 and our oldest student is 67. I think our oldest graduate across WGU today has been 81 years old, but our youngest graduate has been 17 years old. So 63% are female, 37% are male. 73%, as I mentioned, I think previously, are employed full-time, and 11% of students are employed part-time. 10% of our students are veterans, and 4% are military spouses or dependents, and 3% are active duty. So we've been long recognized as a military-friendly university as well. So as I mentioned, let me just highlight a little bit more about our program offerings, and in particular the design of Western Governors University and our academic model. We were probably the pioneer in competency-based education, not because we invented it. Competency-based models of education were invented probably 40 plus years ago. But if you think about the delivery of it and the success in terms of ensuring that students were able to progress through those programs, achieve their credentials, and ultimately achieve opportunity, this is where I think WGU has truly been the pioneer. I mentioned earlier that we took the student and said everything about the university, the student has to be the center of everything that we do. And that also led us to think about the academic model. The competency-based education model has a simple principle, that learning is the measurement, not time. That we focus on ensuring that every single student is demonstrating the learning, that as soon as you demonstrate mastery in the competencies or the learning that you have at a course level or at a degree level, then you can advance. That we focus on measuring that learning, not time. This is very different than traditional models of a credit hour system, where you have seat time that matters, and you had to have X number of credit hours in a course, which meant you had to go to class 3 times a week for a 15-week term, that type of thing. That model doesn't exist at WGU because a competency-based model says it's the competency that matters. That an individual, once you demonstrate proficiency in that competency, then you can advance. What that allows our students to do is that they, on average, complete their programs in about 2 years and 3 months. I think it was this last year. Our undergraduates completed their degrees in 2 years and 3 months. Our graduates, I think, completed their degrees in 1 year and 9 months. So you recognize now that in a competency-based approach, the other key factor is that adults who have actually had a lot of learning in other ways because of the jobs they have, the reading they do, whatever it may be, that they can accelerate through those through those courses and that material that they understand and know well, and allows them to spend their time and focus on those newer areas rather than relearning that which they already know. And so competency-based approaches maps really well to the student model that we have. The other thing about our program, as I mentioned, we took a single faculty role and we disaggregated it into 4 roles, where we really have, for the integrity of the program design, we have curriculum faculty who design and develop the curriculum. We have course faculty who are the subject matter experts at a course level in a program. We have program faculty who are really there to ensure they gain all the augmented instruction and teaching that needs to happen in an integrated nature across their program. Plus, these program mentors ensure that our students get the support around planning their coursework, planning the projects they have to deliver, preparing themselves for the assessments, while also dealing with all the other factors that weigh into our adults' lives. Time management, family commitments, other countervailing priorities. How do we help them make sure they follow through on those commitments while also progressing their academics? And then our last faculty type are the evaluation faculty. These evaluators ensure that the integrity of the design is held no matter what student you are, in which state you're located, it doesn't matter, that in fact the assessment and the evaluation of it is maintained a level of integrity and consistency, that regardless of the faculty that you've worked with, the assessments and the evaluation of them are consistent, so that we know every graduate in demonstrating the competency has demonstrated mastery and can progress. I talked about how we design our programs to also map to the specific workforce demand areas. So let me just hit a couple last things before we move on in the program. And one is simply the question of why did we create state affiliates? The answer to that actually didn't come from us. Interestingly enough, it came from a governor. That governor, in fact, was long familiar with Western Governors University. That was Mitch Daniels in the state of Indiana. And he recognized this same challenge that existed in Indiana, which is these working adults who have some college but no degree, and the growing demand for credentials in his workforce. He needed to find a way to rapidly expand the access to high-quality programs, but he couldn't build another campus and another building. He's like, that's a very expensive approach to do this. How could his state partner with Western Governors University to dramatically expand the awareness and the access to WGU's programs to to more quickly increase the total number of graduates to fill the workforce needs? So some 7+ years ago, WGU Indiana was first born. It was an opportunity between a state and the public to actually partner with a private university, Western Governors University, to build greater awareness and access and increase the need-based grants where it's possible at a state level for those individuals that previously couldn't access education options that were already existing in that state. And so what we recognize in this public-private partnership model, it dramatically improves the awareness and the visibility and the access to all the adults in a state that actually need it. There's another key reason why we do this, is that it increases our ability to design and develop our programs to specifically map to the workforce demand that exists in a state. Instead of viewing our challenge nationally, when we can bring the view down to a state level, we start getting a much better sense of how do we really advance the competencies that are designed into our program? How do we really focus on developing awareness around the programs that are needed given where the workforce demand is? And so it allows us to shape even how we design and develop our curriculum, because we're more in touch with specifically how sectors are developing at a state level. Now, what we found with states and the growth is that within the first 5 years of launching a state affiliate, that the enrollment grows north of 50% on a compound annual basis, meaning it scales very rapidly. Just to give you a sense of that impact, WGU as a whole grows at about 15 to 20% in total enrollment. But where we have state affiliates, that enrollment grows north of 50% in the first 5 years alone and continues growing. It starts developing an awareness and a referral and just overall recognition and regard for WGU as a degree-granting institution at a state level in a way that we can't do nationally. The other key thing that we recognize is that this is probably one of the best single investments that a state can make in advancing higher education options. Why? Because we are a private nonprofit university. The partnership that will exist here in North Carolina between the state and its partners and WGU, it is a one-time investment. There is no ongoing operating budget allocations. There is no appropriations coming from the state budget whatsoever. This is a one-time opportunity, a one-time investment to effectively advance WGU in a way that then the self-sustaining growth of it is powered by the model that we serve our students with. We are a nonprofit institution. We self-sustain entirely on the very low tuition that we afford our students. And that's the same expectation that we afford all of the state partners that we have. So how do we plan to grow? The reality is that our greatest growth comes by partnering with the leaders across the different workforce sectors and the business and the institutions that exist within those, like with the Chamber of Commerce and others. We also grow because we expand our partnerships with the community colleges and recognizing that so many of those adults in those community colleges needed a path to a four-year degree or even a master's degree. That partnership really expands the overall awareness that both employees at these institutions as well as students that are already in the community college systems, that they see a path to a degree that they need to continue to advance their opportunity. Those partnerships also help provide opportunities for those graduates across the business sectors in particular. The growth also comes because we invest a little more heavily partnering with the state in advertising and awareness and developing our community relations so that in fact there is more awareness developing at a local level. Many of you already have probably seen our national ads that have been out there. So I just want to recognize now and extend our deep gratitude to so many of the supporters we've had to get to this point. First and foremost, would like to recognize Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest, who is with us here today, and you'll hear from him momentarily. We'd also like to recognize both Governor McCrory and Governor Cooper. This is an example of the long-standing bipartisan support that WGU has been afforded, because we think in many ways that education and access to it is not a political topic. That in fact all of us can agree that expanding access to high-quality, low-cost education is a great endeavor for so many. We'd also like to recognize the support that has been afforded us by the House and the many representatives, including the Speaker and those who are also in attendance with us here today. And then also contributions that have come from partners both of WGU and the state. And that includes Strata Education Network, Golden Leaf Foundation, and Deloy Hansen, who's the founder and CEO of Wasatch Group out and a developer of real estate and other things, and has been a long contributor to Western Governors and has been a partner with us in doing these states. We'd also like to recognize Greg Sinders and Lou Ebert, who you'll hear from as well. So let me, with those intro comments, turn the time over to Jeff, who will click on our video montage so it gives you a sense of North Carolina, and then I'll introduce the subsequent speakers.
WGU has enabled me to progress from a dead-end job to a job nearly doubling my salary as an IT specialist, where I support 4 libraries in the Onzo County Public Library System in my home state of North Carolina.
I've told everybody about WGU. I'm proud to be at WGU for the fact that it works with me, with my life, with my family. I feel like being a mom, being a spouse, my life is crazy already. There's not a lot of me time, but this is giving me that me time, and it's affordable, it's flexible. You can do it on any time that you have. You can fit in time you study.
In the tech field, there's a lot of people without a degree in information technology. The way they progress in their roles and their positions is through certifications. So I've been able to progress through certifications, but adding a degree on top of that puts me ahead of the market.
Before WGU, I was working at another contract research organization, and I think I reached as high as I could with my degree and my experience. WGU has allowed me to nearly double my salary. I have been able to move into a new position in the company and receive 3 promotions.
WGU will assign you a mentor that will walk you through your program. They will start calling you once a week just to check in, see if you have any questions, if there's anything that they can help you with. They want you to know that they are there for you. And so far, I've had an incredible experience with my first mentor.
My WG mentor was Makayla, and she was awesome. She kept me going during the times when I couldn't, and it was a great experience.
The biggest takeaways are the specific classes that they've given me. For instance, the technology course that I have been in was a SQL programming course, so that allowed me to have a good understanding of how databases are made and tables are made within these databases, and that's really translated into our work.
WGU North Carolina will give working adults the opportunity to expand in their careers. It'll give them the opportunity to study, take courses, and get a degree around their already busy working schedule.
I can't tell you how many times my friends asked me about my courses. Was it hard to do? Could they do it? Were they too old? All of those things. Then they asked how did I balance everything?
Let me introduce to you really quickly who you'll hear from next. First, we'll hear from North Carolina's Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. He'll be followed by Greg Sinders, who is the North Carolina State Director for Team CFA. And then we'll also hear from Lou Ebert, who is the President and CEO of the North Carolina Chamber. And so let us all welcome Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's an honor to be here, and it certainly is a big historic day in North Carolina. And Scott, since this is already your second home, you might as well just move here. Move the headquarters here, set up shop, your family's here. We have plenty of room for you, so we'll wait for that. We can make that announcement next year. Mom and Dad would be happy about that, right? You'd be okay with that? Listen, it really is a historic day, and it's a proud moment, I think, for North Carolina to see another opportunity for excellent education to be inserted into our state, really in a new way, in an innovative way. And but also proud to see we had Tom Fetzer and David Powers here with us, who are members of our Board of Governors for our university system, and to see their partnership and their willingness to partner here. You know, WGU is not coming in as a competitor to our university system, our community college system. It's coming in as a partner in that system, a system of education that needs to meet the needs of all of our citizens across North Carolina. It's found an innovative and unique way to reach into our communities and do just that. And so we should all be very proud of that fact. We should be proud that we are willing as a state to be innovative. We're willing as a state to kind of break the mold of education the way we've seen it historically. You know, we have a great university system, and they meet very specific needs, and they do a fantastic job doing that. And WGU comes in and says, you know what, we see some other needs in the community that need to be met. And they have the tools and the resources and the ability to be able to meet those needs. And so this is a historic moment in North Carolina to say, for the first time, we've seen a lot of disruptive change in our culture, right? We've seen a lot of disruptive technological change in our culture, especially over the last 10 years. But for some reason, education hasn't really been able to keep up with that technological change and the needs that are out there in the community. And so WGU does just that, and they provide that opportunity to meet those technological needs in our community and reach out to those people who don't necessarily have opportunities for education in another way. And they provide affordable, high quality access to that education as well. And I think Scott really hit on all the topics. I had a speech for you. I'm not going to give it because Scott really uncovered pretty much all the stones there related to that. But related to a state like North Carolina, that is the second most rural state in America next to Texas, we have unique needs in North Carolina to reach our rural population. And WGU provides a solution to reach that population. Being perhaps the largest military state in America, from veteran and active duty personnel, we have very specific needs for training, active duty, coming off duty, and veteran populations in our state. Nearly 1/10 of the state of North Carolina is military related. So that's nearly 1 million people. And so WGU does a fantastic job of reaching into places like Camp Lejeune and to Fort Bragg and to Seymour Johnson while those members are still in the military and they're getting ready to come out and they need a job when they come out. WGU is there to assist them and support them. So that's huge for a state like ours. They can't always leave and go to Chapel Hill or NC State or any of our other fine institutions, but WGU is there for them on their time to be able to do that. So we really are, as a state, we're really proud to be able to partner with WGU. We had some of our members of General Assembly here. We're actually in session right now, so I saw people getting up and leaving kind of one at a time as they're going into caucus and going into meetings. But this was a big effort over a few years to really get this done by a lot of people. So I know many of you were involved in that effort, but we need to thank our members of the General Assembly who really did reach out and make this happen. Our former governor and our current governor who have done a lot of work to make this a reality as well, and Catherine Truitt. And you have a good one here in Catherine as well, Scott. So I know you know that, but she's going to do fantastic things for WGU. So congratulations to all of you who have been involved in this, and we look forward as a state to partnering with you for many years. Congratulations.
Good morning. My name's Greg Senders, and I'm the state director for Team CFA, and we have a network of 13 charter schools here in North Carolina. But I'm kind of like Western Governors University. I got to North Carolina as soon as I could. I grew up in Indiana and went to Purdue University, and so I'm a Hoosier by birth and a North Carolinian by the grace of God. So I'm glad to be here, and it's exciting that we've reached this day where we can announce Western Governors University, North Carolina. I had the opportunity when I was in Indiana to work with Governor Daniels, and I remember the day when he said, we're going to establish a new university. And I sat there and I said, oh really, just overnight? And he said, we just need to raise a few million, and it's only a one-time investment, the best money we'll ever spend. And sure enough, he was right. And I didn't know that a few years later, when Chris Bunnell had come knocking on my door and said, you know, we really need Western Governors University, North Carolina. Will you help us make it happen? And it didn't take any time at all for me to make that decision. Because my energy, my passion is helping people, students in my career today, achieve their full potential, achieve their dreams. And that's what Western Governors is about. As the Lieutenant Governor said, it's not here to compete with our current universities. North Carolina has a rich tradition of supporting our universities to the tune of in the top 5 in the United States as far as our funding for our public universities. And this too will be proved to be one of the best investments North Carolina ever makes for its citizens. As the Lieutenant Governor said, Catherine, welcome aboard. You're a true reflection of what Western Governors is about. You have the passion, the energy, and throughout your career, you've been known to be an innovator, not settle for the status quo. And I know that you're going to help North Carolinians, regardless of their address, regardless of their path in life, regardless of their income, have a brighter future tomorrow. It's up to them. Now, we're creating an opportunity for every North Carolinian to change their future. Those over 1 million North Carolinians that have some college and no degree, that path was disrupted, maybe because of money, maybe because of some event in their life. But I'm just honored that Chris, you came and knocked on my door. We walked a few miles and knocked on a few doors to make it happen. It took a few years. It took longer than we wanted. But I'm proud to play a very small part in this. And thank you to Western Governors University for being willing to look at North Carolina and call Western Governors University, North Carolina home. So to each of you, this is the beginning. Let's spread the word, and let's come back here in a year and celebrate the people that have taken advantage of this phenomenal opportunity. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Lou Ebert. I'm CEO of the North Carolina Chamber, and also excited to be with you today for this important announcement. Our organization is the largest broad-based business organization in the state with over 35,000 members. And every day when we go visit our members, what's on their mind is the insatiable search for talent. So we've now come to a state where, if you were here 7 years ago, we were the people without jobs. Now we're in the mode of jobs without people. So to have the Western Governors University show up here and be part of us helping to solve the skills gap comes at a wonderful time. This is the 9th largest state in America. We're the 3rd fastest growing. And if we were in a freestanding economy, this would be the 30th largest economy in the world. So we might ask the Western Governors folks what took you so long, but we're glad you're here. You recognize North Carolina as a state of opportunity, as do we. And let me tell you why that matters, because in this state, the business community has made it very clear what our future needs to entail. We outlined a bold vision called Vision 2030. This is a state that needs to get 4 things right, we think, to be the best state for business, and first and foremost is investing in talent and education. We need to be a competitive place for business, and we're rapidly becoming one of the best places to work, live, and do business. We're also focusing on infrastructure so business activity can move at speed, and also fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. So your arrival here comes at a wonderful time when North Carolina has to create more talent. In fact, our plan calls for creating 1 million new jobs, 1 million new jobs by 2030. The good news is we're well on our way, but this can be an accelerant to getting us on that path. This is an important week just coincidentally because this is Manufacturing Week in America. You're in the 5th largest manufacturing state in the country based on GDP. So a big part of our skills gap is a wide range of companies and challenges, but manufacturing is right at the heart of that. So we look forward to learning more about how we can work and do business together. Jim Clifton, in his book, talks about the jobs war as the war for everything. It truly is, and the states that are ready to win, we think we are, this is the missing piece, because you can't win the jobs war if you don't win the talent war. So we're excited to see your arrival here. Look forward to working with you to accelerate education and economic opportunity. And we intend not just to be the best state for business, but the best state for talent. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Forrest, Greg, Lou. It's wonderful to have those partnerships, and it will be a great boost and a catalyst to our own growth and expanding WGU's influence in the state. And those are, Lou, those are some impressive statistics and something that I also learned. The other thing is I highlighted previously about how this partnering at a state level also gives us really good indications as to where the demand is. That manufacturing sector may also inform us quite a bit about where new degree programs need to be developed as well, because of our ability to really scale those up quickly. As you have heard, we've also added to WGU North Carolina a leader that I think has already established herself as one being recognized as advancing innovation in higher education, and we are so grateful to have our Chancellor, Catherine Truitt, join WGU North Carolina and begin to lead our growth here. And so let me just take a moment to introduce her. So Catherine Truitt joins WGU North Carolina after serving as an Associate Vice President of University and P through 12 partnerships at UNC General Administration. Catherine and her team work to strengthen the state's educator pipeline and provide support for public colleges and education through a students first lens committed to improving educational outcomes for all of North Carolina's children. I think you can get a sense as to why Catherine's already a good fit for WGU North Carolina. Love that students first. Prior to that, Catherine served as Senior Education Advisor to Governor Pat McCrory. In this role, she coordinated policy for all facets of public education. From pre-K through the UNC system, Catherine worked to ensure all North Carolina students receive the high-quality education they need to be college and career ready in a global economy. She began her career in education in 1998 and continued in varied educational settings over 12 years, spanning grades 4 through 12. After teaching literature at a public high school in the Seattle area, Catherine moved to Chicago, where she co-founded a K-8 parent-run private school on Chicago's South Side, followed by 4 years teaching in the British school system while her husband was stationed there with the U.S. Navy. After returning to the States, Catherine settled in Raleigh, where she taught American literature to 11th graders at West Johnson High School in Johnston County. In 2012, Catherine joined the International Center for Leadership and Education, where she served nationally as a turnaround coach in underperforming public schools. Catherine earned her Master's of Education from the University of Washington. She resides in Cary with her husband, Jeff, who is also here in attendance, who is an attorney and a captain in the U.S. Navy Reserves. They have 3 children in Wake County Public Schools. And as a lifelong educator, she is committed to the core belief that all people have a fundamental right to maximize their potential. Please join me in welcoming Catherine Truitt to the podium.
Wow, what a day. I really don't think that anyone is more excited about this than I am, although I'm sure some of you might beg to differ, but thank you so much, Scott, for that wonderful introduction. It's great to see so many friends here today and familiar faces, and I've gotten to meet wonderful staff members from WGU who are helping to mentor and teach students every day. It's an honor to meet you, and thank you especially for coming. After 23 years in education, I still believe in the power of education to transform lives and to sustain our democracy. In this country, attainment of good education can still enable social mobility and success and is the key to achieving the American dream. I believe that everyone has a right to this opportunity regardless of zip code. And this belief has permeated every decision I've ever made in my professional life. For the first 12 years of my career, I taught English to students all over the United States and in the UK as my family moved with the military. My student-centered approach was considered different at that time. So even then, I was labeled a disruptive innovator. But my efforts impacted lives one student at a time. In 2012, I began working with a group called the International Center for Leadership and Education, and we help teachers and administrators turn troubled schools around by choosing a student-centric approach to running a school rather than the typical adult-centric approach. And we helped change schools one school at a time. As the former governor's senior education advisor, I had the opportunity to develop a deep understanding of our state's commitment to innovation in education, and I'd like to share a few examples of what makes North Carolina such an innovative place to do business with regards to education. First, North Carolina was a forerunner in the establishment of high-quality standards for early childhood education, and just a few months ago, our legislator created the Birth through Third Grade Council that will examine those policies and practices that will make high-quality early childhood education possible for our youngest citizens. Our state's transition to digital age learning has laid the foundation for a more personalized, individual approach to K-12 education that is already producing incredible results in some of our most economically disadvantaged counties. We have an early college high school in North Carolina that is the envy of other states, allowing students across North Carolina to take community college classes while still in high school and graduate with an associate degree for free. Our North Carolina community college system is the third largest in the country, and no one in North Carolina lives more than 30 minutes from a community college or a satellite campus. So these innovations are part of our state's larger efforts to transform education in North Carolina, one system at a time. And now we have WGU North Carolina. I believe deeply in the mission of Western Governors University, and let me be clear, as those who've spoken before me, rather than compete with our existing institutions of higher education, WGU complements this system. The WGU model will allow more North Carolinians to attain a degree, because although everyone in North Carolina may live within 30 minutes of a community college, many thousands do not live within 30 minutes of a four-year institution. Or how many live close to a school but cannot attend because of work or family demands? WGU North Carolina's unique model will allow these students to earn a degree at an affordable cost, which will transform families, one family at a time. North Carolina has more troops stationed here than in any other state. We will be able to help soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and their families obtain a degree without leaving their base, and this will be good for our military and our economy. I wish that when I was a Navy spouse that I had had the opportunity to go to WGU, but unfortunately we didn't have internet back then, so. WGU's ability to be simultaneously student-centered and innovative will enhance our existing educational system in the state, helping more North Carolinians achieve their dreams. I'm so proud to be associated with this mission and hope that you all will join me in the days ahead. Thank you so much. And now it is my honor to invite a few special people to the podium. First, Jennifer Eckhart, who is a WGU grad and who finished with her BS in IT networking and has come to us from Charlotte. Brett Ford, you guys can all come up together. Brett Ford, who we saw on the screen juggling, right? Has his Bachelor of Science in IT. And his wife, Madonna Ford, who has a BA in 6 to 12 math education, which we so desperately need, don't we? So thank you all so much, and I'll turn the podium over to Jennifer.
Good morning. I was asked to speak on behalf of WGU. I came to North Carolina by way of Pope Air Force Base. I was stationed here in 2013 and fell in love with the state and have called it home ever since. You've heard many of the fellow speakers speak about rural and one-time and first-time university members. You are looking at one of those people. My mom did not graduate high school, nor did my dad. My uncle couldn't even read fluently until he was over 50. I was told in high school that the thing that they can never take away from you was education. And I made it a goal in life to obtain that education. When I lost my scholarship, I joined the military. And after the military, I joined the North Carolina National Guard. I was deployed in 2010 to Iraq. I found WGU because I knew I was deploying, and I also knew I was deploying as an IT personnel in Camp Cropper. So I decided I needed to get a degree and that it would translate into a career after my deployment was over. The great thing about WGU is that you can take it anywhere and it fits into any schedule. I was in Camp Cropper, Iraq. And we actually had internet. Actually better than some internet in our western parts of the state. And I was able to complete about 90% of my degree while I was deployed. I came back, and the thing they don't tell you about being deployed is that sometimes the transition home is just as hard as being deployed. So it took me a little longer, and I actually graduated in 2013. I currently work as a web developer, and my social economic status has gone through the roof because of it. My family has a totally different opportunity now than they would have if I had stayed in my rural county in Florida. So I say thank you to WGU and all education as a whole. Thank you.
You have to excuse me, my daughter told me to do this. I think I did it right. Good day to you all. My name is Brett Ford. This is Madonna, my wife, and I'd like to thank the Lieutenant Governor, WGU staff, alumni, and everybody else here today. The establishment of WGU North Carolina will add one more vehicle for the residents of the great state to further their education. You may have noticed I was the juggler on the video, and North Carolina has been my home since 1979. The only constant since I've been here is change. In the workplace and in education. My wife and our two girls, we live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I will start off with a little bit of a history. My wife and I were both high school graduates of the North Carolina public school system. I left high school with the best of intentions in 1988, but I got a little sidetracked. I met my wife in 1996, and she was starting her career as a professional land surveyor. I had a beautiful head of hair and a really good work ethic. A telecommunications company in Charlotte hired me in 2000, and I started my career. A little history, I was installing dial-up lines. Does anybody remember 56K? Anybody? And you were like, wow, the picture would come in. Okay. Fast forward to 2011. She was unfulfilled in her work in land surveying and decided to change. Her mom was a 32-year retired public school teacher. My wife was going after her dream of becoming a math teacher. So 2013 rolls around, and I'm watching my wife finish course after course at WGU working towards her new degree. The company I'm working for offers education assistance, so I enrolled in March of 2013. Now is where the story gets fun. My goal was to graduate on time with my wife. I had to fast track a little bit, so I averaged 22 credit hours per 6-month term and finished my last class in August of 2015. Madonna and I graduated together from WGU in January of 2016. WGU offers a wide range of relevant, quality, and rigorous programs for every stage of life. My wife is in her 3rd year as a math teacher at Olympic High School in Charlotte. I still work for that same company, but in a new position thanks to my degree. It was not easy for either of us, but nothing worthwhile ever is. We have shown our children that you're never too old to reinvent yourselves. Education is very important to the future of North Carolina, and our youth will be filling these halls very soon. We must prepare them for the task at hand. In closing, I'd like to thank everybody here again. North Carolina has 100 different counties, and now, thanks to you all, we're giving them another educational choice. And if you remember anything from my little talk today, education comes in all shapes and sizes, and marriage and raising 2 teenage girls makes your hair fall out. Thank you.
Well, as an online university, we don't necessarily have a ribbon to cut or a brick to mortar or a cornerstone to lay, but we do have a mouse to click. So I would like now to actually turn our attention to a ceremonial mouse click. And to do so, let's invite Catherine up, as well as Jennifer, Madonna, and Brett. If you'd like to join us on stage as well, we'll do that click really quickly.
Ready, set, and roll.
There you go. So it is now official. The doors to WGU North Carolina are now open, and you can see from the website that is now live that our prospective students and our current students can start finding a home, if you will, here in North Carolina. We're so excited and look forward to the growth and the prospects that WGU will have here in North Carolina, and we're very excited by this partnership that exists now between the state and WGU. And so on behalf of all of our faculty, who are, so many of them are here with us today, as well as our students and graduates, and on behalf of all of those who work in administration at WGU, and also on behalf of the governors and lieutenant governor, as well as Greg and Lou and Strata and Golden Leaf and so many others who have worked for several years, if you will, to make this moment occur. I do want to also add to all of their gratitude my deep and sincere gratitude to all of you. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be part of WGU, and it's wonderful now to see this event come to pass, and we look forward to great things to come. So thank you again, and thank you so much for being here and to make this possible. And that's it for our event. So thank you again. Right, I forgot that, as North Carolina, we invite you to actually the tent outside. We have a cup, is it out to the left? Okay, so it's out this, to my left, to your right. And we do have some Krispy Kreme because I've heard they're headquartered here. And we have some other refreshments, so please stay and mingle with us.